Chapter 7, in which a magical child is more trouble by half. When Luna was 5 years old, her magic had doubled itself 5 times, but it remained inside her, fused to her bones and muscles and blood. Indeed, it was inside every cell, inert, unused, all potential and no force. It can't go on like this, glurked Frost. The more magic she gathers, the more magic will spill out. He made funny faces at the girl in spite of himself. Luna giggled like mad. "You mark my words," he said vainly, trying to be serious. "You don't know that," Sean said. "Maybe it will never come out. Maybe things will never be difficult." Despite her tireless work finding homes for abandoned babies, Shan had a deep loathing for difficult things and sorrowful things and unpleasant things. She preferred not to think of them if she could help it. She sat with the girl blowing bubbles, lovely, lurid, mostly magical things with pretty colors swirling on their surfaces. The girl chased and caught each bubble on her fingers, and set each of them surrounding daisy blossoms or butterflies or the leaves of trees. She even climbed inside a particularly large bubble and floated just over the tip of the grass. The witch told him he was imagining things. She insisted that they focus their energies on raising a little girl who was by nature a tangle of mischief and motion and curiosity. Each day, Luna's ability to break rules in new and creative ways was an astonishment to all who knew her. She tried to ride the goats, tried to roll boulders down the mountain and into the side of the barn, and tried to teach the chickens to fly, and once almost drowned in the swamp. She gave she gave all to the geese to see if it made them walk funny, and put peppercorns in the goats' feet to see if it would make them jump. Every day she goaded Firion into making asterisk choices, or she played tricks on the poor dragon, making him cry. She climbed, hid, built, broke, wrote on the walls, and spoiled dresses when they had only just been finished. Her hair ratted, her nose smudged, and she left handprints wherever she went. "What will happen when her magic comes?" Glurk asked again and again. "What will be she like then?" Shan tried not to think about it. Later, when the growth had been dispatched and the brain healed and the school mistress was sleeping comfortably, Shan felt she could finally relax. Her eye fell on the bowl on the counter, the bowl with the rising bread dough. But there was no bread dough in the bowl at all. Instead, there was a hat, wide-brimmed and intricately detailed. It was the prettiest hat Shan had ever seen. Over the next 2 days, Shan did her best to conclude her work in the Free Cities as quickly as she could. Luna was no help at all. She ran circles around the other children, racing and playing and jumping over fences. She dared groups of children to climb to the tops of the trees with her, or into barn lofts, or onto the ridge poles of neighborhood roofs. They followed her higher and higher, but they couldn't follow her all the way. She seemed to float above the branches. She pirouetted on the tip of the birch leaf. "Nap time," the witch said, brandishing both palms, and Luna collapsed onto the ground. She had never interfered in the will of another. Never. Years ago, almost 500, she made a promise to her guardian, Zosimus, that she never would. But now, what have I done? Shan asked herself. She thought she might be sick. The other children stared. Luna snored. She left a puddle of drool on the ground. Is she all right? One boy asked. Shan picked Luna up, feeling the weight of the child's face on her shoulder and pressing her wrinkled cheek against the little girl's hair. She's fine, dear, she said. She's just sleepy. She is so sleepy, and I do believe you have chores to do. Shan carried Luna to the guest house of the mayor where they happened to be staying. What have I been missing? She asked herself out loud. There was something she wasn't seeing, something important. She didn't think about her childhood if she could help it. It was so sad, and sorrow was dangerous, though she couldn't quite remember why. Memory was a slippery thing, slick moss on an unstable slope, and it was ever so easy to lose one's footing and fall. And anyway, 500 years was an awful lot to remember, but now her memories came tumbling toward her. A kindly old man, a decrepit castle, a clutch of scholars with their faces buried in books, a mournful mother dragon saying goodbye, and something else too, something scary. Shan tried to pluck the memories as they tumbled by, but they were like bright pebbles in an avalanche. They flashed briefly in the light, and then they were gone. There was something she was supposed to remember. She was sure of it. She could only remember what. Chapter 8, in which a story contains a hint of truth. A story? Fine, I will tell you a story, but you won't like it, and it will make you cry. Once upon a time, there were good wizards and good witches, and they lived in a castle in the center of the wood. Well, of course, the forest wasn't dangerous in those days. We know who is responsible for cursing the forest. It is the same person who steals our children and poisons the water. In those days, the protectorate was prosperous and wise. No one needed the road to cross the forest. The forest was a friend to all, and anyone could walk to the enchanter's castle for remedies or advice or general gossip. But one day an evil witch rode across the sky on the back of a dragon. She wore black boots and a black hat and a dress the color of blood. She howled her rage to the sky. Yes, child, this is a true story. What other kinds of stories are there? As she flew on her cursed dragon, the land rumbled and split. The rivers boiled and the mud bubbled and entire lakes turned into steam. The bog, our beloved bog, became toxic and rank, and people died because they could not get air. The land under the castle swelled. It rose and rose and rose, and great plumes of smoke and ash came blowing from its center. It's the end of the world, people cried, and it might have been if one good man had not dared to stand up to the witch. One of the good wizards from the castle, no one remembers his name, saw the witch on her fearsome dragon as they flew across the broken land. He knew what the witch was trying to do. She wanted to pull the fire from the bulge of the earth and spread it across the land like a cloth over a table. She wanted to cover us all in ash and fire and smoke. Well, of course, that's what she wanted. No one knows why. How could we? She is a witch. She needs no rhyme and no reason neither. Of course, this is a true story. Haven't you been listening? And so the brave little wizard, ignoring his own great peril, ran into the smoke and flame. He leaped into the air and pulled the witch from the back of her dragon. He threw the dragon into the flaming hole in the earth, stopping it up like a cork in a bottle. But he didn't kill the witch. The witch killed him instead. This is why he doesn't pay to be brave. Bravery makes nothing, protects nothing, results in nothing. It only makes you dead. And this is why we don't stand up to the witch, because even a powerful old wizard was no match for her. I already told you this story is true. I only tell true stories now. Off with you, and don't let me catch you shirking on your chores. I might send you to the witch and have her deal with you.